Dr. Bagai, when a seemingly healthy 9-year-old collapses suddenly, what are the most likely medical explanations behind what is being called a heart attack? I know there is a thin line between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack, but in cases where siblings die in similar circumstances, it is quite fishy that the family has opted out of the post-mortem. Does that immediately raise suspicion of a genetic or an inherited heart ailment or risk?
Good evening. Extremely unfortunate incidents, and my condolences the family who lost their little one. But here, just going through the media reports, there was also a past history of the other sibling having a similar kind of demise not very long back. So overall, when you look at a sudden cardiac arrest in children, what we call as SCA, this should not be construed as a heart attack. Sudden cardiac arrest is an end point of a spectrum. Whether it's a revivable or non-revivable is another thing, but it is extremely rare. It's more than 1 or 2 cases per 1 lakh population.
Okay.
Very big pediatric outpatient or inpatient. Perhaps throughout the year, you may not get to see a case at all. But having said that, more than 50-60% of the causes are often protean. They're hidden, they are masked. And the survival rate, especially if the sudden cardiac arrest happens outside the hospital or far away, is very poor. Less than 10 or 15% of the children unfortunately survive. But if there is a family history of a sibling already having such an event, and this child suddenly collapses and dies, it strongly points towards some sort of genetic or a familial cause. And these are basically along the lines of what we call as hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, dilated cardiomyopathies, arrhythmias, that means abnormalities in heart rates, certain ionic channelopathies, that means there are certain channels in your heart which are predisposed to give an abnormal flow either of the electrical impulses or of the contraction. And then there are other causes, but not so much of the non-communicable diseases or lifestyle diseases can give this kind of a picture, especially keeping the familial part in mind. With regards to your question of who needs to be screened and when, I think an antenatal history gives us a lot of information. When you talk in terms of an antenatal history, it's going through the pregnancy records of the mother, seeing what the past medical history is. Therefore, history taking becomes extremely important. A thorough clinical examination of all body organs at the time of birth is mandatory. If a child cries immediately at birth and you hand over the baby to the family, that's not the end of the story. Every child born needs a very detailed clinical examination, which includes the heart, the lungs, and hips and joints. These are often things which are missed. And apart from that, if there is a family history, clinically examine the child on every visit. Any suspicion, any doubt, or any history which points towards either lack of exercise or breathlessness or fatigue warrants examination, and do not hesitate in getting a cardiologist review formally.